Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. In this episode, we are on part 2 of the case against Lori Vallow. If you missed part 1, where we really dive into who's who in this case, where we dive into the early stages, the preliminary stages, like when Chad and Tammy actually got married, where their story begins. We really dive deep into that and cover 2019. If you've not had a chance to watch that first and you'd like to watch that first, just click right here, okay? So let's dive into part 2 of the case against Lori Vallow. On January 3rd, 2020, local investigators and the FBI serve a search warrant on the Daybell home in Salem, Idaho. Now, Fremont County Sheriff Len Humphrey says investigators recovered 43 items, including computers, cell phones, journals, documents, and medications. He says these are sent to an FBI lab for further analysis. As investigators continue to look for the kids, Larry and Kay Woodcock, they travel from their home in Lake Charles, Louisiana to Rexburg, Idaho. They announce a $20,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of the kids. And they say, all I want is to just see those kids. They wanted to be with the kids. No one was given answers. They were hurting, and they were offering $20,000 to bring our kids back. Chad Daybell's brother, Matt Daybell, he's pleading with Chad to cooperate with the investigation. Matt says his immediate family had little association with Chad due to concerns about his religious claims and books he authored. Then, body camera footage is released detailing the moments after Alex Cox is believed to have shot and killed Charles Vallow. Now, in police reports, portions of Alex Cox and Lori Vallow's story contradict one another, which starts raising even more red flags. On January 25th, the Kauai Police Department serves Lori with a notice stating she must produce proof of life of JJ and Tylee to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare or to the Rexburg Police Department within 5 days. On January 26, around 3:30 local time in Kauai, Hawaii, Chad and Lori were driving a black Ford Explorer along the Kuio Highway. They entered the parking lot of Kauai Beach Resort, and police served them with a search warrant for their vehicle. On the scene were East Idaho News reporters Nate Eaton and Eric Grossoth, who had flew to Kauai, Hawaii. And after Chad and Lori were served with their 2 search warrants, Nate and Eric, they confront Chad and Lori.
We had a chance to ask them so many questions that need answers. Lori, Nate Eaton with East Idaho News. Can you tell me where your kids are? Where are your kids?
No comment.
No comment? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say? You're over here in Hawaii? Where are your children? Yeah, why don't you just give us a comment? Just tell us where they are. Chad, where are Lori's kids? What happened to Tammy, Chad? Can you tell us what happened to Tammy? Why have you guys been in Hawaii for so long? Listen, just tell people what's happening. There's people around the country praying for your children, praying for you guys. Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
That's great. That's great that they're praying for you, praying for your kids. What? You have nothing to say? Did you do something to your children? Are your children still alive? That's a simple question. I've got 3 kids of my own. I can tell you every minute where my kids are at. Where are your children? What do you guys plan to do now? You have 5 days to get your children in front of a judge in Rexburg, then what? Are you guys innocent of any crimes? Have you committed any crimes? Chad, you guys have a lot to say on your podcast. You don't have anything to say now? Lori?
And of course, they're asking about the kids, and Chad and Lori have nothing to say. And here they are living in a gated community in Hawaii, and their children were missing. It was pretty obvious they knew a lot more. Law enforcement, they take their rental car and search their rental townhome in Princeville, Hawaii, a gated community. And they refuse to say where the children are. And on January 29th, Kay and Larry Woodcock, they filed for guardianship of JJ in the Madison County Magistrate Court. And this comes as the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare are conducting their own investigation into the children's safety. Like, what's going on? Where are these two children that we know exist? January 30th rolls around. Guess what? Lori Vallow misses the 5 p.m. deadline to produce JJ and Tylee. Kay Woodcock, she shares her disappointment in a news conference about Lori not showing proof of life of the children. And of course, the whole nation is becoming heartbroken by this because everyone's wanting answers. No one had answers at this time. On February 3rd, EastIdahoNews.com get exclusive rights to this storage unit that they had found out about in reference to Lori Vallow. And so they look at video surveillance and they find that they had been at this place, and they find a unit that belongs to them. They find in there bikes, a scooter, winter clothing, a photo album with pictures of JJ and Tylee, sports equipment, a backpack with JJ's initials, and a jersey with Colby Ryan's name on it. Then they even see these blankets showing photos of the children, one focused on JJ with the other showing photos of Tylee. On February 12th, Kay Woodcock would share that in February of 2019, Charles Vallow had removed Lori from a $1 million life insurance policy. And Kay Woodcock would be named the sole beneficiary of that. On February 20th, police in Kauai, Hawaii, they arrest Lori on a $5 million warrant out of Madison County. She is charged with 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of dependent children. She's also charged with arrest and seizures, resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court. Now, this is a willful disobedience of court process or order. On February 26th, Lori Vallow waives her right to extradition to Idaho after 6 days behind bars in Hawaii. This comes after multiple attempts of trying to get her bail reduced. On March 5th, Idaho authorities, they extradite Lori Vallow from Hawaii to Rexburg. They land in an airplane at the Rexburg airport, and guess who attempts to speak with her right off of the plane? Nate Eaton of East Idaho News. Nate, he was a big reason as to why I was drawn to this originally. I would have probably been talking about it back then in my channel had I had a true crime channel at that time. He is a big part of, I love what they do on East Idaho. My wife introduced me to that channel a long time ago, and they do amazing things. Nate Eaton, right off of that plane, after she's being extradited, he attempts to speak with her before deputies drive Lori to the Madison County Jail. Of course, she refuses to speak. On March 6th, she makes her initial court appearance in Rexburg. There are hundreds of people waiting in line hoping to catch a glimpse of the hearing where Magistrate Judge Farron Eddins reduces her bail to $1 million. At a $1 million bail, she stays in jail because she is not able to post such a high bail. On March 24th, Lori Vallow's attorney, Mark Means, he tries to reduce her bail again. He notes here that new facts have come to light since a previous bond hearing, but he doesn't share what this new fact is. On April 9th, a letter is put out by the Office of the Attorney General Lawrence Wasden. This letter shares that Chad and Lori Vallow Daybell are being investigated by the Idaho Attorney General's office. And they're being investigated for conspiracy, attempted murder, and or murder. This is put out there that they're being investigated. On May 1st, Lori Vallow walks into a Madison County courtroom to ask for another reduction in bail. And her attorney, Mark Means, he argues the jail recorded a conversation between the two, thus violating her constitutional rights. And Judge Michelle Mallard says no and denies their request, keeping bail at $1 million. And on May 8th, the Maricopa County Medical Examiner releases the autopsy of Alex Cox. Because people are wondering, did Lori and Chad have something to do with Alex's death now? But they say that Alex died of natural causes, specifically blood clots in the lung. Finally, Melanie Gibb, best friend of Lori and Chad, I talked about them as well, she finally breaks her silence and reveals explosive new details about their relationship and religious beliefs. Melanie's best friends with both of them, right? And they attended conferences where Chad was a speaker and was with them the moment they met each other at a conference. The moment that Chad and Lori met each other, she was there at that very moment. And she saw the pair's relationship quickly turn into something more. And she says that Lori confided intimate details about the couple's activities, beliefs, and future together. You know, Gibb, she was very private after this whole thing came to light. And she had been in hiding, trying to stay away from the public because her name had come up. And that's when police announced Lori's children, 8-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan, were missing, right? And now that she's finding out that their mother had refused to say where they are, and at that time in the Madison County Jail on 2 charges of desertion and non-support of a dependent child, and after remaining silent for 5 months, she finally begins speaking, and she again speaks exclusively with EastIdahoNews.com. And she talks about the case, right? And she's sharing what she does know about Chad and Lori. She shares where she believes JJ and Tylee are and how she got sucked in to Chad and Lori's religious circle. She says she was silent all this time for one reason: fear. Fear for her safety, fear for what will be reported in the media, fear for her family, and fear that something could happen to her. She says, when you realize the people that you know and you're close to and love have been involved in something that has to do with people dying, you start to think, oh my gosh, are they going to come after me? That's what Gibbs says. Everything closes in and you start to think about your own safety and what really happened, and could this really be true? And she talked a lot about things like that, but she finally speaks. And so good for her that she finally said something. Now, on June 9th, around 7 a.m. in the morning, the Rexburg Police Department, the FBI, and Fremont County Sheriff's Office, they serve a search warrant on Chad's home. Within hours of serving this search warrant and doing a deep dive into every part that they can think of, they uncovered unidentified human remains, and they bring in a backhoe to dig deeper in this yard. And days later, official confirmed the remains are those of JJ and Tylee. Rest in peace, JJ and Tylee. June 9th, a few hours later, about 11:30 a.m., Chad is taken into custody about a mile from his home, just moments after law enforcement found the remains. And then he's booked into the Fremont County Jail on 2 felony charges of concealment, distribution, or alteration of evidence. The next day, June 10th, he makes his first court appearance through video from the jail. Magistrate Judge Farron Eddins sets bail at $1 million. And memorials are then set up in Rexburg along the fence of the property where the children had been found. Several candlelight vigils are held in their honor. Rest in peace, kiddos. Now, June 29th, time to up those charges on Lori. Prosecutors, they filed charges against Lori, including 2 felony counts of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. July 2nd, the prosecutors dismissed 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of children against Lori. They dismissed those. They're going for the bigger ones. This was to get her to be held till they found more answers. And so she was definitely going to be charged because she didn't provide proof of life. Now they know why she didn't say anything and she remained silent, right? And so on July 15th, she pleads not guilty to misdemeanor resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court. She pleads not guilty, right? Now, on August 3rd and 4th, the preliminary hearing for Chad Daybell, it is held in Fremont County. Friends, investigators, witnesses, they all testify, and Magistrate Judge Farron Eddins rules the prosecution has enough probable cause to advance the case to the district court. Now, Lori, she waives her preliminary hearing that was scheduled on August 10th and 11th in Fremont County. Now, the case is automatically moved to district court. Chad appears for his district court arraignment on August 21st before District Judge Stephen Boise. He pleads not guilty to the felony charges. Now, August 27th, Chad's attorney, John Pryor, asked District Judge Stephen Boise to dismiss the entire case against his client. On September 1st, Special Prosecutor Rob Wood asked District Judges Dane Watkins Jr. and Stephen Boise to combine the cases of Chad and Lori. In the documents, Wood says the cases should be combined based on the fact that charges against the Daybells allege they participated and or conspired in an act or series of action. He says having the cases would be more efficient for those involved since he plans to present the same evidence and witnesses. On September 10th, Lori, she's arraigned in district court where she pleads not guilty to the 2 felony counts of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. October 19th rolls around. This is Tammy Daybell's anniversary of her death. Her parents and siblings, they announced the creation of the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation to honor her legacy of service and love of literacy. November 5th, EastIdahoNews.com, they obtain audio of Lori saying she was going to murder her 3rd husband, Joe Ryan.
I had divorced him and gotten away from him, and he had joined the church. He spoke in state conference. Everyone thought he was wonderful. He was very good showman of all those things, and after we were divorced, he told everybody that I was this lying, crazy Mormon, and got up in court and said all these horrible things about me, and turned it around to where the judges believed him instead of me. And he was constantly trying to get custody of my 3-year-old daughter, and just to rub it in my face. And I went through a lot of years of this kind of hard stuff, and I was going to murder him. I was going to kill him, like the scriptures say, like Nephi killed him, just to stop the pain and to stop him coming after me and to stop him coming after my children. And I just felt I couldn't take it anymore. And I would go through the scriptures and find all the things like, if he comes against you once, if he comes against you twice, if he comes against you 3 times, then you can kill him. It says it in the scriptures in the book of Mormon. I was like, there it is. There's my answer. I don't want to do anything that's wrong. I did not have a murderous heart. I just wanted to stop the bleeding and stop the pain. And so someone wise was speaking to me and said, you need to go to the temple. So I went and met my bishop, and I was like, I'm either going to turn my life to the temple or I'm going to commit murder.
She was caught on audio sometime around sometime in October of 2018. And she says she became closer to God and did not need to act against Joe. And that is all of 2020. So make sure that you smash that subscribe button. That way you get notified as I continue sharing the case against Lori Vallow. We're done with 2020. Next video, we're gonna hit 2021. My friends, this is creepy as it gets. It's as sad as it gets. We need justice for those kids. We need justice for those spouses. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have an amazing day. Peace.